Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Easy Natural English with Liam. As usual, I'll be speaking to you with no script and no editing, so you can hear some natural English that's just a little bit easier, but it's going to help you to understand those fast-speaking natives. I know it's very difficult. Anyway, today's episode is going to be about accent, about the British standard accent, or really how there isn't one. I know you're thinking, what? The BBC or RP is the standard British accent, but I'm going to explain today why actually there isn't really a standard accent. But before I get into that, I need to say thank you very much to, first to all of my listeners, the podcast listeners, YouTube viewers. Thank you to everybody who listens to the channel or watches the channel. But I want to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. So I have a Patreon account where people can give a donation to support my podcast and my YouTube, because I'm working for free. This is like volunteer work basically to help you with your English, which I'm happy to do. But when I see these people giving me a little donation, it really motivates me. I feel like, wow, this is worth something, Like if you imagine somebody playing their guitar on the street and everybody walking by, if they don't get any donations, maybe they get a little clap, but they don't get any donations. Maybe they feel a bit like, nobody likes my music. So, I really like your comments. I like your likes. I like your reviews. But, when people send me a donation, it really gives me, the feeling of value. It feels like, wow, people really like this podcast and like this YouTube channel. So thank you very much to my Patreon supporters. You make me very happy. If anyone else wants to make me happy, check out the link for my Patreon in the description part of the YouTube video, or in the description part of the podcast, and you'll find a link to my Patreon account, and you can support me too. Make me a happy man. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about standard British accent. So a lot of people, sometimes when they tell me they want to learn standard British accent, they start looking at BBC News. And this is what is called a standard British accent. That's like, if you search standard British accent, you'll see RP, or received pronunciation. But actually, these days, it's spoken by the Queen and really not many other people. Actually, before this episode, because I'm from the UK, I lived in the UK, and I feel like most people don't speak like this, but I was interested, so I checked. And the statistics, so the numbers on the internet, say it's about 2 to 5% of people who speak this standard British accent. So you see, it's not so standard. So it sounds like BBC News or the Queen. Yeah, and really not many. Maybe Harry Potter speaks a bit kind of, this standard BBC, kind of standard British accent. But most people don't. So what do they speak? So most people in the UK have quite strong regional accents. So for most people in the UK, if they talk to me for just a short time, I can usually tell what part of the country they're from, and sometimes, a lot of the time, even what city they are from. So somebody can talk to me and I can say, oh, he's from London. Or I talk to and maybe even the part of London. And then I talk to somebody else and I can say, oh, he's from Liverpool, or she's from Manchester, or he's from York. So, people have quite strong regional accents. So what kind of accent should you learn? Maybe that's what you're thinking. I think this is your choice, really. You can see which one you like. So, if you watch Harry Potter and, you like the way these children, because some of the adults don't speak this so-called standard pronunciation, this standard accent. But if you listen to like Harry and I really don't know Harry Potter very well. The girl, what's her name? Yeah, I've lost it. The girl and, like his friends, they speak this kind of standard accent. And you could copy them, or you could copy the BBC News. It's a nice clear pronunciation, so perhaps that's a good choice for a student. But if you want to sound like most British people, because they don't, if you want to sound like most British people, I would, usually I tell students, look at Jamie Oliver. You can go on YouTube, search Jamie Oliver. He's a British chef. And I think his accent really sounds like a standard Southern accent, because there's quite a big difference with people from the north. But he probably sounds like most people who live in London or live around London. So it's not like really strong, he's not like speaking a lot of slang and speaking like, maybe like a gangster or something. He speaks just like a normal guy, like a normal person. So I think somebody like him is good to use as a model. Usually this kind of English is called estuary English. So if you search Google, you'll find that. It's quite hard maybe to find resources. But if you're interested, send me a comment on YouTube and I'll try to think of some other people that you can copy. And then you can try and learn that kind of pronunciation. What else was I going to say about pronunciation? This is what happens when you have no script. Sometimes I forget the things that I wanted to say. Well, maybe you're thinking, what is my accent? So I come from the south of the UK, a place called Norwich, which is close to London. It's hot in Okinawa today. And yeah, where I'm from actually has quite a strong accent, but actually I don't speak with that accent because I left the UK a long time ago when I was 19. And then I lived out of the UK for many years, speaking English with people all from all different parts of the world. And, if I spoke with a kind of accent, sometimes people might say like, huh, what? And maybe they don't catch every word. So I started kind of maybe unconsciously sort of masking my accent, sort of making my English a bit more universal sounding, a bit more what they call standard, which I'm saying is not that standard. But maybe kind of accentless. Maybe I don't really have a strong accent. I definitely don't have a strong regional accent. But I think most people, if they listen to me, a native speaker listens to me, most people can tell I'm from the UK. Sometimes I've had people who are a bit confused and they ask me if I'm from Australia or something, but most people can tell I'm from the UK. But yeah, where I'm from is actually... people have quite a strong kind of countryside accent. So yeah, as I got older, I sort of tried not to have that pronunciation, because when I was overseas, which I ended up spending a lot of time overseas, people couldn't really understand me very well. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. You might be thinking like, what's a standard American accent? That's something I can talk about in another episode. But if you want a reference for like again, America, the USA, they have many different accents, same as the UK, depending on region and depending on like your background, especially class. That is really a big thing in the UK. Like people who earn less money come from kind of poorer families compared to people who earn a little bit more, compared to people who are like middle class, compared to upper class. There's really quite a difference in the pronunciation. And America has a bit of that effect too, and the region really changes the accent. So from the top of my head, if I told you like a standard, like I said, there isn't really a standard, but if you want a nice clear American accent, maybe look at the TV show Friends. Maybe you've heard of it before. A lot of people like to study English with that. So Friends is good for American accent. For a British accent, yeah, check out Jamie Oliver on YouTube, and I'll think up some other resources too in case somebody asks, and I can tell you some more. Anyway, thank you very much for listening today. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. If you're on the podcast, please review. Everyone share with your friends, and I'll see you all back here next time.